Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Business Spotlight, the podcast where we shine a light on the incredible entrepreneurs and business leaders in our community. I'm your host, Craig Whipperman with Music City Action Coach, and today we're excited to introduce to you someone who is blazing a trail in the world of construction here in Middle Tennessee. Our guest is Alex Sanders, CEO at Pinnacle Partners in Nashville. We'll dive into Alex's background, explore the challenges he's faced and the successes he's celebrated. Whether you're a fellow entrepreneur, an aspiring business owner, or simply someone who loves to support local businesses, this conversation is sure to inspire and inform. So without further ado, let's welcome Alex. Alex, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Craig. Thanks for having me.
Sure, man. Well, take a minute and share with the audience a little bit of maybe your background and bring us up to what it is you're involved in today.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Alex Sanders. I'm the CEO here at Pinnacle Construction Partners, based in Nashville, Tennessee. We're a development and construction firm founded in 2007 by two partners, and one that's still here, Michael Carter, who was the owner and chairman here. I lead as the CEO, newly minted CEO. I've been here for about a month now. Originally, my role, since I am a real estate developer by trade, originally my role was to, hey, come over here and add a real estate development arm to the firm. One of the reasons being is everybody likes to have their own client. It's kind of the best client to be the client for yourself, right? To work for yourself. So I was going to start a real estate development arm to bring in business to the construction side. And next thing I know, having conversations, Mr. Carter asked me to become the CEO. And mind you, construction is not initially my background. My background is in real estate. I started off as a commercial real estate broker, selling offices, industrial facilities, and things like that. But most of my stuff has been development, developing everything from hospitality to luxury student housing, multifamily, and then some industrial. So when he asked me to be the CEO of a construction company, it was a little different. It's exciting, a little scary, I will admit, but it's something a challenge that I think I was willing to take. And the reason I decided to take that and felt comfortable taking that is because of the relationships that I have in the construction industry. I came to Nashville from Puerto Rico. Been in Nashville for 2 years now. I was in Puerto Rico for the 4 years before then. And the reason I came to Nashville was to help open up an office for Mortensen Construction and as a developer, a top 20 construction company in the US. And through them, I was able to build a lot of relationships. So because of those relationships, I had a lot of confidence to actually undertake this undertaking. So
Fantastic. Congratulations, man, on
thank you.
the role as CEO. So how how did that come about? Uh, did you have a relationship with Michael, right? Michael is the owner?
Yes,
Michael,
yes.
did you have a relationship with Michael prior to that, or was he looking for someone and you interviewed, or how did that unfold?
It was fate, really, honestly. I don't know how else to say that. So Pinnacle Construction Partners and Mortensen Construction, where I was, has a relationship, has a enduring relationship. For soccer fans or Nashville natives, they built Geodis Park, the soccer stadium, together. And with that, they kept a close relationship. So coming down to the office, I got to build a relationship with him, and knowing his impact in the community, if somebody I wanted to get closer to. So when I started having conversations with him, and he has never tried to poach me or anything like that, but when I started having conversations with him, it was more of, oh, you know this person, or oh, let me help you do this, or oh, hey, let's do this. Um, and then we found out that we knew a lot of the same people from different cities, and we had a lot in common. So when I told him that I was thinking about going out and doing something on my own, maybe possibly just having those conversations, he said, "Oh, well, why don't you, do something if that's something you're looking to do? Why don't you do something with me? And let's figure this thing out." So one thing led to another, and next thing you know, I'm here having a conversation with you.
Yeah, that's great, man. So you were able to developed some trust with him and established some credibility
Yes.
before the opportunity even made itself available then.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Um, let's see. So Michael, I was doing some research on Michael, and I learned his previous business partner was Daryl Freeman. Do you,
Yes.
and man, he was a uh, gosh, renowned throughout the
Mhm.
city of Nashville as I mean, made it really big. And I think he founded, didn't he found Slim and Husky's pizza place? Is that right?
I don't know from what I understand, because I was never fortunate enough to meet him, but serial entrepreneur,
Yeah.
well known in the city. I don't know if he founded Slim and Huskies, but I know he's touched a lot of entrepreneurs in the city. His
Hmm.
goal was to make as many successful people as he could, and I think that's why people loved him. And
Hmm.
him and Michael Carter started this business in 2007. Neither one of them with construction backgrounds, but it ended up growing to be a success.
Yeah.
And I was just at a award ceremony for the Entrepreneurship Center, and they have an award named after him, right? And
Mhm.
his son got to present it to somebody. So he had a major impact in his community. And for someone that's new to me, I've only been here for close to 2 years. He's impacted me as well, and I've never even met him, I've never even seen him. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me if he was, to answer your question, was an investor in that. I
Hmm.
know he's touched and invested in a lot of different businesses and people. So
Well, how I learned about him was through a podcast that actually I think is sponsored by the Entrepreneur Center. It's called
okay,
Circle Back. Have you heard of the podcast?
I have not. I have not. I need
It's
to go ahead and do it and
very
listen to
well done.
it.
They may have only started like, I don't know, in 2021,
Okay.
something like that. And he was a
All right.
guest on there.
Okay.
I'll have to go look at the episode for you and send it to you. But the whole series is fantastic. If you want to get
Mhm.
just a history of, especially kind of the Renaissance of Nashville, Renaissance downtown, because back in the 70s, and 80s, it was not really the best place to be downtown,
Yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
all the work that has taken place since to make downtown now a major draw and turn the city into what it is. So the series picks, significant entrepreneurs who have had that kind of impact
Mhm.
in Nashville. And Daryl was one of the guests, and I was just fascinated by it. So anyway, that was, and it's really interesting that Michael and he were partners,
Yeah.
right? We're partners when for quite some time, I guess,
Yes.
with Pinnacle.
Hmm.
So interestingly enough, neither Michael nor Daryl had experience in construction,
Yes.
and you're kind of following in their footsteps there.
I like to say I have a little bit of a head start because I've actually, usually as a developer, and I'm like I said, I've developed a lot. Um, I'm on the ownership side, where it's okay, hey, you get 3 quotes, right? And then you start
Hmm.
beating up on the contractors to try to figure out to get the best deal that you could. So I have some
Hmm.
experience in that aspect, but to this level, to do the type of projects that we're working on now, it is a learning curve. It is a learning curve.
Hmm.
Thank God for my experience at Mortensen, to see the inner workings of her construction company. And I will never speak bad about them. That was very influential to my career, and the people over there. But I've learned a lot over there, and I still call them when I have questions. I still call some of my old teammates to say, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about this? Should I
Hmm.
be doing things this way? And it's having that community and that backing is very has been very beneficial for me. I'm blessed with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. To have that community and that background and that
Yes.
network that you can rely on,
Mhm.
that can help you kind of grow and learn the ropes, I guess, as you go. So, how long has it been since you've started with Pinnacle?
It's a month going on a year. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, but We've been handling a lot. We've been closing out some old deals, bringing up new deals, doing some hiring, um, and we've got a lot accomplished in the time that I've been here. And Mr. Carter has contacted me. I'll say something like, "Hey, I need to meet this person, this person, this person," and to me, that means that, hey, give me meetings within the next 6 months.
Mhm.
By the end of the day, he'll call those people, and next thing you know, we have meetings set up, right? So
Mhm.
um, it's because of that, my time has been spent networking, which I love, um, doing financials and things like that, which I don't love,
Mhm.
unless it's like development financials and projections and stuff like that. But um, it's been about, to answer your question, it's been a little over a month now.
Wow, that's so you're still but it sounds like you're being thrown into some big projects already,
Yes.
big challenges already, but you're still kind of in
Mhm.
the getting used to the environment phase, you know? That
Yes, yes. Looking for the restrooms. I still haven't found the kitchen.
exactly. So what's as far as construction goes, what would you are you can you share with me what the sweet spot is for what Pinnacle targets as opportunities for them? Where can they bring the most value? Um,
So that's a question, and hopefully I have a little time to dive a little deeper than that. But it really just depends on how the deals are done. So if it's a development deal, which is my background, so I'll bring in a hospitality or an industrial development deal that are pretty large. We're talking 80 to $120 million for like hospitality or industrial, wherever large that is. Um, those type of deals, we will partner with other construction companies to knock that out. And there's multiple reasons why I'm looking to do that. I'm all about strategy and being strategic. And one, you get to build the relationships, and when you go into a room offering something and have mutual value to something, people are a lot more receptive. So I may say, hey, here's a project that I can get fully financed. I can take it through the entitlement, get the design done with the architects, engineers, get the financing, both debt and equity. But then I want to get it built. Instead of Pinnacle using all of its resources to knock out, one or two deals, we'll say, hey, um, larger firm, let's partner together. And with that, it's mutually beneficial. So we'll bring the project that's fully financed. We'll use their resources and their knowledge to start a lot of construction. We'll do a lot part of the construction, and next thing you know, we built this wonderful opportunity, right? So if you're talking development deals, there's nothing too big, nothing too small that we can handle. I'm focusing on development, mostly on hospitality, industrial, healthcare, and municipalities. And that's just because those are things I can get financed with my eyes closed, right? I
mhm.
can I can find I can find if somebody brought me a deal, I can find the money, I can get entitled, I can get it done. So with that, on the construction side, on the development side, it's it's whatever we can find that's a good deal. Um, for as just a construction company, it's a little different. So some of the history of Pinnacle has been partnering with larger firms to take down large projects where the larger firm would say, "Hey, Pinnacle, you have the relationships, the local relationships, and let's use Mortensen and Deotis Park for example, right? Mortensen came into the community, very large general contractor, but they didn't have a presence in the southeast other than with some sports stadiums. So what they did is said, hey, let's partner with you, Pinnacle, and let's see if you can use your relationships. You can be boots on the ground. You can get things going for us to build. So we were able to do that aspect and partner and JV with firms like that because that's what the value bring. And on top of that, not only do we bring the value with the expertise and knowing this local subs and things of that nature, we also have, of course, that tool and a tool belt that we're minority certified as well. So the thing is, we bring values in a lot of different ways, and on top of that, like I said, we have a lot of tools in our tool belt that we're able to bring to a deal. So to answer your question, in the past, a lot of our deals have been JVs, right? Where we're able to partner with the larger deals. You're talking stadiums. You're talking, we went after, TPAC, student housing deals, things of that nature. But if you were to ask us, okay, what are we doing for ourselves that we're doing prime on, I would say we do a lot of airport work. We do a lot of healthcare work, a lot of work for like HCA and things of that nature. We've done some work at a lot of the universities around here as well. And I would say that sweet spot initially is probably around that $5 to $15 million.
Mhm.
Would be a good sweet spot for us now. We will do smaller deals. We will do larger deals. It's just about the team that we can bring to the deal and the value that we could bring. So if somebody were to come to us and say, "Hey, I have a deal I want you to knock out," let's have a conversation about it. Because if it's something we can't do, we definitely have a partner that can knock it out.
Yeah. So that sounds like the cool part about it, right? And
Yeah.
how you would be a great fit is to think strategically about, okay, who can I align with to,
Yes.
put ourselves in the best position to compete for this job, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That would be a ton of fun. So you've been in the job a month, but going on a year.
Hmm.
Have you kind of gotten any kind of feel for where your organization is from a well, I would imagine Michael is not expecting you to, make a ton of changes
Hmm.
necessarily, but are you seeing anything where you guys are like need some strength, or are you figuring out where your strengths are, or you getting any ideas from that perspective at all yet?
Yes, actually I am. And a lot of that is what goes into our strategic planning, right?
Mm,
I would say some of our strengths, our bigger strengths are the relationships that Mr. Carter brings and the relationships that I have as well. That is one of our strengths. It seems like every company, and we're no different. Some of the things that we are struggling with is not only getting the right people, but making sure you put the right people in the right place to be successful, right? And if I were to expand on that, hiring has been difficult for everybody, right? And we've been hiring since I've been here. We hired 3 people. We're looking at about 3 people, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, looking 3, and we're looking to hire some more. And they've been great hires so far. Um, but that's been difficult, and that's the process. And with that is not only you hire them and put them in the right role, but you want to make sure that they're staying. You want to make sure that they're happy. You want to make sure that they're engaged. And that's very important to us. So to do that, you got to figure out where do they fit in. And with that, it's not where you just fit in now and fit in today, but where do you fit in 5 years from now? Where do you want to be? Right. Because I can put you in a position today and you're great at it. But if you're great at something, most likely you're going to want to grow and take on a little bit more. In theory, those people that we want. So you got to make sure you put them in a place where they have that position to grow. You got to make sure that you're mentoring them and molding them and giving them all the access that they need to you and to the resources in order to continue to grow. And that is also separated by generations as well. And if you just talk, let's just talk between millennials and the generation after that, they're totally different. With millennials, it's more of, okay, hey, let's make sure that I have that room to grow. This is when I do. Millennials like to please, so make sure we're doing a good job, make sure that they feel like they're wanted. But for the generation after, it's more of, okay, tell them what they want to do and give them resources to be happy. Maybe it's remote work. Maybe it's having access um, to mental health psychiatrists and things like that, where they can have a conversation with people on a monthly basis, and they don't have to worry about paying for that because mental health is very important, right? So it's just about figuring out who you're hiring and what needs they have, and making sure you kind of cater to those needs, because the hiring is the worst part and the best part of any business to me. So
Oh, well said, man. Well said. And that's another area and it sounds like you are. Sounds like you guys are being strategic about it, especially in today's day and age, and finding people who fit in your culture,
yes,
and who buy into the vision that you're presenting. If
yes,
you can do that, then that's at least half the battle.
For
Um,
sure.
yeah,
And culture is just not pizza parties, right? You have to be
exactly.
very, very mindful on how you creating that culture and where you want to go. For the longest, and some of the I've been worked at companies that had horrible culture that although I was great at my job, I hated going to work or I hated picking up the phone and I was being stressed and that stress rolls over to your private life and although you're making a nice sum of money, it's just not worth it. And then I've been in better cultures where I might not have been making as much, but because the culture was so great, I was willing to run through a wall for the people I worked with, right? So, and it's not because they gave me pepperoni pizza. They might not have gave me that. It's because they actually cared about, or I felt like they cared about what I was doing and my growth, my personal growth, and it wasn't just about success, but about how you got to that success.
Mhm.
So I'm teetering and learning how to create and build, and I'm building this culture now where people are going to love working and loving what they do. And this is not the work is not the only thing with your life, right? So another part about that is okay, your culture is, hey, I don't have to stress at night at 2 a.m. in the morning because I have something I have to turn in, right?
Mhm.
Um, or I have a vacation I want to go to. I don't need to hold my breath when it's time for me to submit for PTO. I want to be able to have these conversations and feel comfortable and confident. So all that goes into that.
Mhm. Yeah. So, how big is the team? How many are working at Pinnacle now?
Oh, we're still growing. So roughly around 10 people.
Okay.
Um, and we're hiring a lot more. So if anybody's watching this podcast now, give me a call. We're still looking for more people to take on this job. But that's a mixture of the chairman, the CEO, CFO. We have some operations people, estimator, superintendents, and things like that. And then we also have a crew of roughly 30 people that are general trades for us, so
Mhm.
that are coming in and so if we count on these are non-office workers, so they're carpenters and painters and things like that. So we do a lot of projects where we're able to not only GC some of that work, but do that work in house and knock out stuff like that. So it's a mixture of both.
Mm. Okay. Yeah. So, it's really cool to work at a company like that where, small and growing, and you can have a
Yes.
significant influence over
Mhm.
people's lives,
Yes.
because I agree with you. And the cool thing is you're coming in and you've experienced both
Yes.
sides of what you just explained, how, there's value in coming to work and having
Mhm.
fun and enjoying it, and you're willing to accept a lower pay because it's
Mhm.
just so much fun. But conversely, getting paid tons of money, you feel like, well, gosh, I can survive this.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I'm sure there's a lot of people who's been in just like you, and
Mhm.
of course me throughout my career, having done that. But that positions you well for, okay, you know exactly what it is you want to do, right?
Yeah.
And how you want to treat people, and a combination of great compensation that doesn't only include salary, but all the
Yeah.
perks that you just talked about,
Mhm.
in combination with a culture, that's a gold mine, right?
Yeah.
That's something you can offer, and it will allow you to compete, in this tough world now for getting the right people to come in and join you. Um, so that's a big challenge trying to find the right people. What else have you figured out? Have you figured out anything else that needs some strengthening, or where you guys need to grow or figure out a problem?
Um, I'm still looking.
Hmm.
I'm looking at not necessarily looking at things that I need to fix, but things that I can improve. One, I talked about the staff, that's always the hardest thing.
Yeah.
But two, figuring out who you want to work with or work for. You don't have to work. I'm in a position where I don't have to. I can pick and choose which customers I want to work for, right? And sometimes a customer can bring you all the money in the world, but if they're not somebody you want to work with, that job is going to feel like it's going to feel bad. Feel like you haven't made any money on it. So I think one of the things we're doing now is, and I'm having that with Mr. Carter and Ashley on our team, is we're trying to figure out, okay, who do you want to be and who do you want to work with and who do you want to be for that person, right? So right now we're going through a list of projects that we've done in the past, trying to figure out, okay, why was this successful? Why this wasn't successful? Was it not successful because something that we did? Was it not successful because of something the people that we're working with? Was it stressful? How did our employees like working for that, right? And then by doing that, you're able to strategically pick who you want to work with, which again takes you back to, okay, you have a staff that actually likes working because they're working with people they like to work with. It's only so much we can control in the construction industry. Majority of our business are third party clients. And if our culture can be great, but if they're talking to somebody on the phone every day that's a client that they hate, that's going to be a reflection on us as well by putting them in that position. So it's a lot that we're doing. It's a lot that I'm going to be learning. It's going to be some mistakes that I am going to make. It's going to be some wins that we have. But right now, we're just chugging along.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. So what's the outlook look like? I'm curious your thoughts on the development down on the riverfront there with the new stadium going in. I'm
Yes.
curious if you guys are involved in any of that that's going on.
Mhm.
And then of course, we just had this issue on the ballot for
Okay.
improving, the transportation systems
Mhm.
in Nashville. Get your thoughts on both of those topics and
Okay.
what that means to the likes of not only yourself but others in the construction business.
Mhm.
Is there opportunity out there?
So we are doing work on the Titan Stadium. We actually bid the work as to be one of the main contractors on it. We end up coming in second, so we was a bridesmaid on that. But um, talking to Turner Construction, they have been very vocal about us, still having ways that we can actually build and do work on the project. So we are doing work on that project now. And then on the East Bay as a whole, it's so much that question you kind of asked me is kind of loaded because there's so many different ways you can take it. So I've lived in a lot of river cities and I've developed in a lot of river cities. So you're talking uh, Chicago, you're talking Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh is a great example of what they did with their riverfront and how it has transformed over the last, I would say, 15 years based on what it was before. Um, and then you got the cities like Cincinnati and Louisville and other cities that Nashville kind of falls into that range of, okay, what are we doing and what can we do with this beautiful river? We're a little slow, as in Nashville's a little slow of activating the river. But in my time in Pittsburgh, just seeing everything from Lawrenceville to the Strip District. I'm sorry for speaking neighborhoods, people that may or may not know Pittsburgh, but the way they redid their river, before Pittsburgh was known as uh, you don't want to jump in Allegheny because you don't know if it's going to be a body floating next to you, right? You can't see your feet, you can't see your hand in the water, and those three rivers connected is just mud, right?
Mhm.
And you get off the river, and then you go to these houses that have Pittsburgh toilets in their basement, right? So it's been that way for 150 years. But what they've done over the last 15 years is they've been putting wonderful restaurants there. If you look at how their baseball and football stadium is off the water, it's perfect. If you look at the apartments that they have in the Strip District and a few things, they're doing a lot of things to activate that. And I think Nashville can do the same thing and far surpass it as well because Nashville has grown without even activating it, right? It's grown so much and they just done downtown. They've done Midtown. They've done Germantown, but they haven't even touched the most prized possession. The reason why Nashville as a city is here, right? Or these river cities, they haven't even done anything with it yet. And what's going to happen over there? It's going to be amazing when it happens. Um, the biggest thing about that is okay. Yes, we have projects that are looking to go over there, but who's going to be the first one to do it? And what are they going to do with the infrastructure over there? So, for instance, let's say I want to develop a hotel over there, and let's say I want to develop a hotel over there today. And let's say it takes me a year to go through entitlement and 2 years to build it. Do you think in 2.5 years anything else will be over there, or will I be the only thing over there? And as a hotel owner that's not from here, I'm saying, do I want that? Is a pedestrian bridge going to be over there? Is it anything that's going to bring traffic to have people stay in my spot? So the biggest thing is figuring out who's going to do it first and who's going to actually take that risk and time it and jump on it. You got the Titan Stadium going there, which is it's going to bring traffic. You know, you have Fallon that's doing a lot on East Bank, but somebody's going to have to build something first to show that it can be done, and then after that, it's going to be a home run for anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, well, I used to live in Franklin many years ago and travel all around the world. And, well, mostly around the country, then around the world some. And well, I would come home and think back to Nashville, and I'd drive by downtown as I came back from the airport. And I would think to myself, man, this is such a cool little town, because I had wherever it is I've just been on my mind. And
Uh-huh.
as I drive home, I'd think, man, this is such a cool little town, because there's little music spots everywhere,
Yes. Hmm.
and there's just a feel to the place. There's a vibe, or a soul to to just the community itself. And plus, it's in a beautiful area. And I swear to you, I thought this is the world's best kept secret. And that's been like 20 years ago, and
Yeah.
then here we are 20 years later, and the whole world has not only figured it out, they're kind of on their way, and I just feel with the development over there in the around the river with the Titan Stadium, people aren't going to stop coming to Nashville for quite some time. I don't know what
Yes.
your thoughts are on it, and what's interesting too, we were chatting the other day. I spent the 16 years up in Pittsburgh, so I know all about what you're talking about
Hmm.
in the development of the riverfront up there, and they have done a fantastic job with it.
Yes.
It's a place you really want to be, and
Mhm.
it's just very friendly and it's again, it's got a good feel to it, but Pittsburgh's kind of changed its impression, and
Yes.
it's got such a cool kind of history to it. But well, I mean, what are your thoughts about the growth in the Nashville area over the next 10 years?
It's funny. So I think I read an article the other day talking about how Nashville is going down because for the last few years, Nashville has been number one, or tied for number one with Vegas and Austin for hospitality and real estate as a whole. And then I got an article the other day and it says, "Oh my gosh, we're figuring out what we're going to do. We're number five." So number five, it's a lot of cities that would love to be in the top 20, right? So I'm still excited. It's so much that's going to happen, and people always say, "Oh no, Nashville's running out of space," or "Nashville's doing this and Nashville's doing that." And when you compare it to other cities, Nashville's just scratched the surface, right?
Mhm.
Um, Even if you just look at the population, Nashville has been growing a lot. It was a certain amount of people, 100 people a day at one point. Now it's like 70, but even
Mhm.
that, it's only the size of, if you just do the MSA or population, it's only the size of Indianapolis, right? And Indianapolis and Nashville, if you go to Indianapolis, it's a totally different feel than Nashville is. Nashville feels vibrant. It feels like it's growing. Indianapolis is a little different, right?
Mhm.
Um, but the population is still not here. And you got Oracle that's bringing 6,000 people, and a few other companies that's bringing in and bringing people in and bringing their families. And people are like, "Oh my gosh, what am I going to do?" And it's like, we haven't even scratched the surface. It's so much opportunity here. I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited about the Southeast as a whole. And um, I'm looking forward to being part of it.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun, a lot of fun to watch. So let me kind of switch gears a little bit and um, what and ask some kind of specific questions. But and we were talking about your, the culture that you have, that you guys are trying to build. What what vision that Pinnacle has? Is there kind of a bigger than life mission or vision that you can
Mhm.
use to adopt your team into, get them to buy into? Uh, how would you describe that at Pinnacle?
I guess it depends on which route you want to go. When I close my eyes and dream, I want to be $1 billion company, right? Like if you're not in the business to be the best, then why are you doing it, right?
Hmm.
And then when I wake myself up, it's like, okay, how do we get there? Where is my vision? And then I start looking at other companies that have done it before and how do they get there? And um, I would say my vision would be to be a large conglomerate of real estate construction type companies where we're touching that development arm. We have the construction arm. We have the private equity arm. We'll have the procurement arm, and I don't want to run none of them, but but I want to be a part of it all. I love developing projects. I love um, talking to my son and saying, oh yeah, daddy built that, right? Oh, I like just little things like that will make 3 years of heartache, worth it.
Mhm.
So our vision is to grow something special, but the thing that I really would like, if you're talking non-monetary, is I want to make an impact. I want to make an impact on people's lives. Um, Similar to what you said about Daryl Freeman or my mentors, Turner Nash and Michael Carter. I want to have an impact where they'll say, "Oh, oh, did you partner with Alex Sanders? I knew Alex Sanders. I heard him on this podcast, or I read about him in MBJ, or he made this person, he partnered with this person, and this was a company and changed their whole life, or he donated and worked with kids here and changed their whole life, or I just that's the impact I want, because after success is, and I'm not that I'm there yet, but I kind of want to be known for something else. I kind of want to have a legacy. I want my son to be proud. I want people to say, "Oh, who's your mentor? Who's somebody you look up to?" I want my son to say, "Oh, I had that at home. I had my dad, Alex. He was perfect." And my daughter say, "Oh, I had Alex. Dad, I had Daddy." That's the vision I want, just to be able to touch people's lives and have our company touch people's lives in a multitude of different ways.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it gets down to, you know, the personal impact you can have,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
And many different avenues. Um, throughout your career, what's been your biggest challenge that you've overcome? Biggest hurdle, or maybe biggest failure that you had to deal with? And how did you go about overcoming the challenge, or maybe coming back from the failure?
My issues have never been externally. They have always been internally. Imposter syndrome is real, right? Um, you going in a room and you're like, why am I here? This person is brilliant, or this person did this person did that. And they're asking you questions. You're like, why are you asking me? I don't know. And then you realize, wait, I do know. They're asking me, I'm in this room, nobody's doing charity. They really care about what I'm saying, and want to implement some of the ideas that I may have. And it took me a while to get to that point where I realized that I do belong. Um, Externally, I feel like I can take down anything. And if anybody knows me, they would say, "Oh, Alex is a confident guy," but I have to build myself up every morning to get to that confidence that you see externally. And imposter, just feeling like you don't belong, or that that you should be doing more, and all that internal feeling that we all probably feel. I think has been the hardest part. When Mr. Carter asked me to be CEO, I'm like, CEO, I can't do this. I don't know nothing about this, right? I'm not a construction guy. Um, but then you start talking to people. I'm like, Alex, you can do this. You have the connections, you have the people, you have Mr. Carter, you can figure this out. You're a smart guy. So yeah, just that has been the biggest hurdle for me. Like I said, externally, I'll run through a wall, but internally, if you can't fix what you have internally first, you're not gonna be able to do anything.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, mindset is a big deal,
Mhm.
and having the belief that you can, and you will, you have
Yes,
to have that vision that you're going to succeed, um, and know that you can, and whatever hurdles there are, you're going to figure out how to get around them, or work through them. And I've heard you say, you reach out to the network that you've got, right?
yes.
And so you
Mhm.
can't devalue that. You've really got to, lean into that network. make strides and keep and hey, it's the old entrepreneurial spirit is fail fast and fail
Yes.
forward, you know?
Yes.
And if you keep those two in mind, then and you have to persevere through it.
Mhm.
Everyone you talk to who's either started a new company or done anything of that magnitude, it's just resiliency that is I think the common characteristic that you find in people. But mindset, I couldn't agree with you more, is a big deal. Is there anything is there a routine or I mean, like, is there anything you do to exercise your mindset and your vision, like you do to work out your body and keep your physical health in shape?
Um, I think I hate to say working out because I used to run track in college, and to me, that was working out. Now, if I do anything, it's just so I can breathe better when I'm walking a half a mile, right? So, I think the biggest thing for me is I'm an early bird.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I am an early bird, and I'll. It used to be okay, 4:30, 4:25, and then daylight savings in for some reason. Now I'm waking up at 3, but I gotta get that fixed. But that first hour of my day, I'm just sitting there staring at a wall, right? Just getting ready for my day. I'm trying not to think about too much stuff, but I'm just trying to reset. Um, I'm just trying to reset and prepare myself for what's going to happen. And then not necessarily that anything's bad or just stressed out by anything, but sometimes I just need to sit. One of the things that I used to do, and so right now, um, I'm currently not drinking, and I'll tell you right, I haven't had a drink today. It's been a year, right, as of today. So not because I had an issue or anything like that, but one of the things that was problems I was having is I couldn't sleep. I was having issues sleeping. Um, and actually even before that, I feel like I wasn't as successful at work at my job, what I could have accomplished. And I said, okay, why is that? Why do I feel like I'm working way too hard for something that I used to be able to knock out? And I realized, okay, hey, I wasn't sleeping well. And I said, okay, why am I not sleeping well? And then I realized, okay, in Puerto Rico, we started drinking at 2 every day. And then I moved to Nashville, and these are just meetings, right? I moved to Nashville, and it's not so much coffee or lunch, but it's happy hour. We
Mm-hmm.
love happy hours in Nashville. And I would find myself doing 2 a day. And after that, I was like, I'm not sleeping. And I realized it was because of the amount of liquor that I was having.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was, okay, let me see if I can take away liquor, which will help me sleep, which will help me do better at work. And once I did that, it gave me the ability to, once I start sleeping well, it gave me the ability to actually get up like I used to in the morning and then stare at a wall, which is what the much needed time the time that much needed. So
Mm-hmm.
um, if you were to ask me what my routine, stuff I can deal without, it's just waking up and sitting. And in order to do that, I had to sacrifice a lot of other things to make sure that it worked, but it was well worth it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's I think it's kind of deceiving. You the opportunity was presented for you, right?
Yeah.
You attend a happy hour, you're networking or whatever, and it's just comfortable, and then you kind of create the habit of doing it, and then you don't realize the impact it's having. Then all of a sudden, if you slam the door shut on it, it's like, oh wow, I feel like a different
Yes.
person. So I can appreciate taking steps like that. And then of course, quiet time in the morning, meditating, praying, doing whatever. That's a big one for me.
Mhm.
Um, but Alex, it's been fun having you on the podcast here. I want to ask you one parting question, if I can,
Okay.
and it's got to do with. I assume you're a reader, right?
I am a reader. I could be reading more, but I am
Yeah.
currently continuing to read. Yes.
Good. So I ask this question all the time. I'm just curious if there's a book maybe that you read some time ago that served you well throughout your career that you've kind of referred back to, or maybe one that recently you've read that is very applicable and something that has kind of opened your eyes or given you some insight.
That's a good question. And then I guess you're gonna figure out if I was lying to you about if I was a reader or not. I wonder how many bluffs have you caught in these interviews? But I would say I'm reading a book now, and it's it's a book that I feel like it's helping me strategize a lot to be a CEO, and it's called Traction by Gino Wickman.
Hmm.
And what I like about it is I'm very, if you give me the steps, I will follow the steps to get something done. And let me explain that. So I like to watch successful people or people who I think are successful. And that's not just monetary, but that's what talking to people, family, lifestyle, whatever. So let's say if I took 20 people, I would take the things that I like about them and throw away the things that I dislike. So if they say the vice is this, you should do this, or you should do that, you should do that. I'll take those 20 people, I'll take their advice and create my own mental book in my head, right? And I will follow those steps to a T because those are the steps that I decided to work with. So when I read a book like this, like Traction, is okay. Here are the steps that you should do when you're operating a business. This is how you should hire people. This is how you should fire people. When to let them go. When how to mold them. And what I'm doing right now, and I'm a note taker, is I'm picking the parts out of that book that I think are very informative and they also have diagrams as well. So I'm looking at those diagrams and I'm like, okay, this makes sense. And so if you were to ask me a book right now that's making sense for me, I haven't made any money off of it yet, or I haven't seen too many fruits yet. But just where I'm going with it now, I would say Traction has been a good book for me.
Yeah, that's a popular book. It's
Yeah.
kind of foundational in establishing operational procedures and
Mhm.
practices, and know-how. So yeah,
Which is not my background. My
yeah,
background is real. My undergrad is in marketing. My master's is in real estate development. So I'm always on the business, the BD side and the deal side. But um, now it's a little more operations than I'm used to.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll do just fine at it.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, and so one last comment as I think about it, you said this, Michael offered you the CEO role,
Mhm.
and you were like, oh my gosh, I can't do that.
Mhm.
Uh, but Michael's not a spring chicken. He's been around the block,
Yes,
and he can see that you're a good fit and you're the right fit for this
I
for
hope
this
so.
for this
I hope
role.
that's what
Yeah.
he sees. I hope that's what he sees, and he wasn't just throwing a hail mary.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, of course he knows that, right?
yeah.
How's that? Here's a kind of a squishy question, but how does that make you feel that he sees something in you that you didn't realize you didn't think you could do?
Um, how does that make me feel? For some reason, comforting comes to mind. I don't know if that is the best way to say it, but I feel comfort that somebody that has the success that he has sees something and believes me enough to take the risk because it's a risk on his part, it's a risk on my part, and he's taking the risk and not only um, monetarily, but he's the risk of somebody running your business in me, and with his mentorship, it's making me feel comfortable in my own skin to be able to knock this out. Um,
Hmm.
I'm able to call him when I have questions. If he don't know, he says, "Alex, I don't know." But then he finds somebody for me to talk to that does know it. Like I have zero reasons to fail. In my mind,
Hmm.
I have zero reasons to fail. Businesses fail because of leadership. Businesses can fail because of money. Businesses can fail because of the market. I have zero. I have everything I need to be successful. I have the market, I have the people, I have the monetary things that I need, I have the relationships. And he got me comfortable in knowing that I will be successful in this.
Yeah. Does it in any way motivate you that to think that sees that in you and sees what your capabilities are?
When he awoke or reawakened, whatever that is, but I was, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. And I always say the best to me, I think the best employees are athletes or ex-athletes or people that are self-starters because it's delayed gratification, right?
Mhm.
And I used to have that in me, like because I ran track in college, I was an athlete, did all this, and while I was started working for the firms and doing other things, I always had stuff on the side. I always had a lot of properties. I always did a lot of different things, but I was starting to get comfortable and there's nothing wrong with it, but I was starting to get comfortable in my lifestyle. I was making the money that I needed. Um, I always wanted to be able to, one of my best friends used to tell me this, and it stuck to me. I just want to be able to go to Best Buy and buy a TV without checking my bank account on my phone, right? And I was at that point where, like, yeah, I am good, but then I was getting comfortable, and when start that entrepreneur partnership in me started to dim a little bit, and he kind of took a blowtorch to it and said, no, we're bringing that back up. This is what you should be doing. I know you can do it. And now I feel like I'm back to the person that I need to be and I should be. So,
Yeah, and you're growing from it, right? Yeah,
yeah,
I guarantee you.
sure.
You know, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, after you've successfully executed that plan,
Yes.
hopefully you won't feel comfortable. Hopefully you'll be in a
Yes.
growth phase where you're continuing to grow and learning how to build even a bigger business.
That's the goal. That is
Yeah.
the goal. And my eyes is up, my head is up. I'm looking forward to the finish. So, yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, Alex, again, thank you so much for being on the podcast and sharing some of your story with the listeners and the watchers. It was really great to get to know you, and I wish you the best of luck, man.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Yep. See ya.